welcome to yet another episode of the Let's Talk Leadership podcast. This is a show where I, Ellie, MD of Transition Partners, and the CEO, Sandra, talk to some of the world's highest achieving business and tech leaders.
In each episode, we will be sharing tales, tips, techniques, and war stories in the hope that you will learn from some of these amazing leaders to help you develop and progress your career.
Good afternoon, and hello and welcome to our Let's Talk Leadership podcast. So today we are joined by Aayush Jain, who is the CEO of Greendeck. Greendeck help retailers optimize their pricing using AI. Greendeck have recently launched a new product, which I'm really looking forward to finding out more about. And Aayush, we first came across you, I think you and I first had a conversation back end of last year because you were listed in one of the top 100 tech awards last year for 2020. So that's absolutely amazing, fantastic achievement. It'd be great to hear more about you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be a part of this quick little episode.
Yeah, fantastic, brilliant. Really looking forward to and interested in what you've got to say today. I know I'm sure you've got lots of experiences to share. So firstly, so you're CEO and CTO. An interesting one. I had a look at your another look at your profile. CTO, it's a Chief Twitter Officer. So I'm quite interested to find out a little bit more about that. Obviously more about your new product launch, because obviously that's very exciting for you at the moment, and something that you obviously would be great to tell everyone about. But I guess before we go into those things, if we start with how your journey began, how did you get into tech, and just talk us through that journey, and then obviously we can talk about where we are right now as well.
Absolutely. So my journey, my background is basically completely anti-tech. I did my bachelor's and master's in biological sciences, where I was, studying those petri dishes and sort of learning more about bacterial growth and viruses and all those kind of things. That's where
your brain box then.
So that's where my educational journey started.
So, was that in the UK or?
No, that was actually in India. So that's it's around 2010, and it's actually in India, and it was like a 5-year course where I was studying biological sciences, and I never had interest in that. I just got through that program, and then when I realized that this is something which is not for me, I kind of started exploring other other sort of educational or sort of academic sort of programs in terms of within the college, in terms of I was very inclined towards finance. I started taking up a lot of finance courses, security analysis, portfolio management, and all those kind of things, because I thought there's nothing I could ever do in biological sciences. I'm just not made for that. And I started sort of studying a lot about finance and how finance works. And I actually kind of got lucky because I got my first job in an investment bank, which is this company called Credit Suisse. I started my career with Credit Suisse. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, so I started off in a sort of trading division within Credit Suisse. I was trading ETF, index ETFs and securities like that. And there was this specific division called Delta One, which I was a part of. And very soon I realized even that is not for me. And neither the biological sciences, neither finance, none of them is for me. And I always had an interest in technology, though I have never been formally educated about programming or computer science, but I always had a keen interest in technology. I always had passion for creating software, and that's where along with my couple of my college friends, we used to do a lot of side projects in college. We used to develop web applications, we used to develop mobile applications just for the fun of it. And so that's actually how my journey to tech started, doing those side projects. And one day, with like almost 1 year into my job in finance, I just called up my friends and said, guys, this is not for us. They were working in the companies, and we said, that this life is not for us. We should do something together. And we actually, over that, that it was a weekend call, and then next week we found three of us quitting our jobs and sort of moving to an altogether different city.
Big step.
We got so we started we started working together, and the idea that we started working together was an online pharmacy. In India,
cool.
if you look at the online the pharmacy or the medicines industry is very unstructured. It still relies on, doctors writing a handwritten prescription and then people going out in medical shops and buying that. So we thought, that's an opportunity for us if we can sort of build a platform which would allow people to get medicines delivered at their doorstep. That's where that's the idea we started working on, and we sort of, quit our job, started working on that idea. We kind of, ran it for about a month, about a year. And then, luckily that business got acquired. So there was another IT company who was venturing into healthcare. And, this is around 2016, 17, where, e-commerce and, sort of online hyper-local delivery was getting really hot in India. So there was one tech company who was sort of, who wanted to get into the space, and, they bought us off, they bought the entire technology, they bought the entire tech stack, and sort of we all three of us, sort of exited that business. And then, we thought to ourselves, what do we do now? And, definitely not going back to jobs, definitely not, we don't want to work anywhere. And that's when we said, we need to keep working together. And, for a while, we kind of experimented with a lot of ideas. And then, eventually we kind of figured out this problem of pricing. We feel that a lot of companies invest a lot in terms of various aspects of the business, like right from user acquisition to retention to monetizing them. But pricing is a very underserved sort of vertical within a business, which a lot of people still relies on gut-based decisions to be able to make those pricing decisions. And that's when we said, there has to be a better way of doing it. And that's when we started again on this journey of sort of experimenting with various things, sort of learning. And eventually, we reached a stage where we are right now with Greendeck, which is basically a platform for online retailers to optimize their pricing using AI. And, we have some of the most amazing customers across Europe and North America currently using this platform to be to optimize their pricing.
Yeah. So who are those customers? What sorts of companies do you work with?
So we typically, within online retail, also our specific focus is into online fashion retailers. So we work with companies like Spar, which is based out of Austria. We work with Carrefour, one of the subsidiary called Showroom Privé. So these are major European companies that we work with, and we are also currently in sort of active trial mode with a couple of big online retailers in Europe, and there would be an announcement made about this probably early next month.
Oh, exciting. That sounds exciting. Fantastic. Brilliant. And you've launched a new product as well. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So basically, while working with Greendeck, we found ourselves buried in huge amount of data, and to be able to make sense of that data and data matrix, the only tool that we had at our disposal was dashboards. We would have hundreds of dashboards set up to sort of monitor various aspects of the business. And very soon we realized that dashboards are not ideal way of monitoring anything. Dashboards are reactive rather than proactive. And this is where we thought of, we were actually kind of missing out on a lot of things because everything was done through manual analysis of dashboards. And we thought to ourselves that there has to be a better way of doing this as well. And what we sort of started off with is, we started building an internal tool which would replace the dashboards within our company. And what that tool was basically, it's a very simple tool which would automatically monitor all of the metrics that we would have as a business. And the metrics I'm talking about are data related metrics, because Greendeck as a business is data oriented business. And what we built is a simple tool that would monitor all of those metrics within our company. And if anything that deviates significantly from the normal behavior, it would send a notification to relevant stakeholders within our company. And we kind of thought to ourselves that this is a tool which we found to be really helpful, and there has to be more companies who would probably use this tool
externally.
And to test that hypothesis, we launched a school website called deathofdashboards.com. And it's a simple one-pager website where we kind of had a rant where, why we think dashboards don't work and what can be done to fix that. And that kind of went viral, that we had hundreds of sign-ups, people wanting to know more in terms of, okay, what are we building next? And what is the actual solution to that?
What platform did you launch that on?
We did not launch it anyway. It's just a couple of tweets that we did on Twitter, and that kind of.
That's why you're a chief Twitter officer.
And hence from that point, I started calling myself chief Twitter officer. So, so it kind of went viral on Twitter. There were a lot of signups coming on a daily basis. We're still getting, tons of signups on that pages on a daily basis even now. And that's when we sort of we spinned off that product from Greendeck as an internal project to as a SaaS platform right now. And it's going really great. We have launched that platform in beta right now, and we have around 450 signups on the platform so far. We are companies all over the globe across all stages wants to sort of automate this whole process of instead of manually monitoring dashboards, have a sort of an intelligent system that would sit on the top of dashboards and let the relevant person know whenever anything goes wrong.
That's it. There's so much data that's been managed by so many businesses that people just do not use as effective as they could do. And it sounds so interesting. Be great to find out more about it later on. So obviously you set the business up, about 4 or 5 years ago now? Is it?
We started this business around 3 years back. We started around mid of 2017, so almost 4th year now.
Okay, so about you're in your 4th year. And how many, when you first set the business up, how many staff did you have?
So we started with a team of 3 co-founders, just 3 of us, we as 3 of us as co-founders, we know each other since almost 10 years now. So, we went to the same undergrad school, started our first business together, then started Greendeck together. And we started with a team of around just 3 people. And now we are almost a team of around 30 people, spread across UK and India.
Okay, fantastic. Brilliant. Were you normally based in the UK then now, or?
So all 3 of us are based out of UK, but we keep traveling a lot. We try to spend a couple of months in the UK and then try to spend a month or 2 here in India, and then kind of rotate between UK and India.
Nice.
I'm a very I'm a tech person. I'm a very product focused person, and I like to be with my product team, with my engineering teams while when you're brainstorming on certain features, certain modules within a product. So it really helps to be closer to the team. Stuff.
Fantastic, brilliant. So you've obviously got a very entrepreneurial flair, and you're creative, and obviously it took you a couple of kind of obviously doing that the degree and then the finance role to kind of work out where you were really passionate about. But then once you did, you've really gone for it, and it sounds like you've done some really interesting stuff. What do you feel makes you successful and who you are? Like, what kind of traits and experiences could you share with others that may want to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, so first of all, by any definition, I'm not successful right now. I mean, like, I'm
very modest as well, then, aren't you?
No, not at all. But I think one of the key things that I believe has helped us in this journey is, I think, persistence. We have had a fair share of failures right in this whole journey, and I think one of the key things, one of the most important thing that I have personally felt is is a contributing factor to where I am right now is my team. Is my team of co-founders. I think so. As a business, everything is fixable. You might start with a wrong idea that can be fixed. The execution can be fixed. I think so every single aspect of business is fixable, except for the team. If you don't have the right set of co-founders, if you don't have the right set of the team, I think so that's one of the fundamental problem which I have particularly seen, because of which businesses fail. And I think so that's one thing that I got really lucky with, is having a team of those co-founders which who know each other for a long time, who understand each other the way that we do. And together, because of three of us being together into this journey, we are able to have that persistence. No matter what happens, at any point we are prepared to go down back to zero and start again from scratch. So kind of, there's nothing that kind of scares us at this point. And I think that's one of the things which we believe has been a factor to where we are right now.
Fantastic. And what do you think? So the message I've got from you there is that it's about finding the right people, and that's obviously the most important thing. And you were you said you were lucky with finding the right co-founders that you've known for a long time. But then obviously that's three of you, and you're at 30 now, so you've obviously hired and recruited externally. What would you say, like, what are your secrets to hiring the right people? Because that sometimes can be quite difficult to get right.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're starting up a business and you're asking those people to join you and go on that journey where, you said before as well, I think you said, there's been lots of failures. It's quite, you need really kind of quite resilient people to go on that journey. Like, what tips and secrets would you share from how have you hired, and how have you got that right and found the right people?
Yeah, so absolutely. I think so. Hands down, hiring is one of the toughest aspects of any business. Getting the right people who believe in your journey, getting the right people who's kind of, who are as passionate about the problem that you're solving as you are. I think that's one of the toughest things that that we face, on a daily basis. And one of the key things that has worked for us really, really well is I have seen a lot of people, competing with the likes of Google and Facebook and, any other big company, Amazons of this world, in terms of hiring, because you are competing with them. If there is a good talent out there, all of these companies are looking for that talent. And you as a business neither have the money to compete with them. You neither have the perks or any other thing that, that you can compete with those companies. So what's that that's left with you where you can actually hire the talent? And I think so the only answer to that is the mission that you're following. The reason why are you doing what you're doing? And I think so that's one of the most fundamental aspect of hiring is, having the people believe in that mission that you're working on. And what one thing that has worked really, really well for us is we hire really young people. The average age of our company would be roughly around 22 to 23. And we hire people right out of college. We try to bet on people when they are so young, when they, when, they're not in them. So, we try to hire people when they are outside of the Googles and Facebook's radar. We try to hire, people when they're really young, when they are very, really passionate about stuff. And hiring, really young has kind of worked really well for us. I think so. If you can believe, our head of machine learning and research, which looks like a very, kind of a role which is suited for PhDs and, doctorate people. Our head of machine learning and research is this guy who's, I think, so barely 23 years old. He joined us when he was 21, and now within 2 years, he's leading a team of around 5 people. And heading a sort of a separate research and R&D division within Greendeck. And he has, he's on his way to publish 2 great research papers on the work that he has done so far. So I think so that kind of that strategy has worked for us.
That's great as well, isn't it? Because you're helping the that next generation to really develop and learn great skills. So we can rely on those skills and future of tech to be kind of, I guess, their longer term, but also
Absolutely.
But I guess the only thing with that the challenge is then is retaining them and keeping them. But you can offer them quick progression as well, which hopefully should help. So your next challenge might be, how do you retain them from joining the likes of Google and Amazon once you train them up?
It's actually not the next challenge, it's the current challenge.
Oh, really?
So basically, at the end of the day, you kind of have to come to the terms that, this is a cycle where, people come in, people go, and it's actually, this is one thing that I used to struggle a lot before that, where I would probably think that, hey, here's this talent, we have invested in them, we have kind of we have kind of grown together in terms of where they were before and where they are right now. And, someday, some big firm comes in and just sweeps them in. And I used to kind of get frustrated with that. But now I kind of have come to terms with that, where I believe that, I think so it's an achievement for us, because, if we are creating a talent that, that would go and work into some big companies, I think so we kind of did our job. And I think so now I've come to terms with that it's actually okay, where, as a individual's journey, if I'm helping my colleagues sort of develop that kind of skill sets where they start from here at, like right from scratch, and they reach to a point where they suddenly become hot picks for bigger companies. I think I kind of did my job. So I'm kind of now at terms with that.
Do you know what though? Like, that used to frustrate me as well, because I've over the years trained so many people up, and and they've either gone off to do something completely different, but use the experience and the skills they've gained as a stepping stone, or they've continued to do the same elsewhere. And I used to get frustrated. No end. But now actually it's a nice thing, isn't it? Because, and the thing is, if you manage your people, lead your people well enough and look after them, they're only going to say good things and positive things about you and your business.
Absolutely.
So I'm a strong believer in what goes around comes around, and I think it'll always come back on you in a positive way.
Absolutely. And this is one thing that I learned from one of my mentors, is that it's absolutely okay, if such kind of things happen. But at the end of the day, what you have to look at is the teams in which those individuals were working. Has the level of that team elevated since they joined and after they left? So if they, at the end of the day, it's not about a individualistic culture that we're trying to build. We kind of avoid rock stars. We would rather have a sort of a, let's say, 8 on 10 team versus having a 10 on 10 individual. So I think that's the most important part for us.
No, fantastic, definitely. So we just touched a little bit then on your leadership style. Obviously we've been talking a little bit about people and how you grow people within the business. And we just touched then around culture and how you structure your teams as well, which is fantastic. Be great to understand. Obviously this podcast is about leadership. So it'd be really good to understand a little bit more about your leadership style. I'm sure you've had feedback from your teams and your peers, your co-founders, but really good to understand, like, some great tips that you can share from a leadership point of view. So everybody that listens to our podcast and watches these podcasts are generally people that are looking to take those tips on, or, get to a point where you are, either start their own business or get to C-level. So it'd be really interesting if you could share some of your hot tips.
Sure. Sure. So, I don't think so, I am capable enough to give a sort of lessons on leadership, but what I can do is probably I can share my journey in terms of how it has evolved. So I think so when we started the business, and, it was just 3 of us, there was a inherent, how should I put it, like inherent bias towards doing everything on your own. You would want to have control over everything. You would want to have control
Hard
over
to
your
let
product.
go, isn't it?
It sounds easy, but it's probably the toughest thing to do. So I think so.
Yeah.
What I have evolved is I have kind of learned to let go of things. Eventually, early in our stage, I would want to do product. I would want to go into machine learning. I would want to handle the customers. I would probably wanted to do everything because I just kind of felt that probably I'm the best person
Only
to do
so
that.
many hours in the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think so. One thing that has evolved is I have learned to let go of things. I think so. One of the biggest impact, as you said, our time as an individual is limited, and the greatest amount of impact that we can create is not by doing the job itself, but having someone do that job as effectively as you would. And that's something that I've learned. And I think so one of the key metric or key, criteria that I have for myself, whether I'm doing a good job in terms of being a leader, is does the team need me right now? So if I have started working with a team, so typically my approach towards anything is, if you're attempting anything new. So for example, let's say we never had a machine learning function before, let's say 2 years back. And when we started working on machine learning side of the things, I was the first person who got started doing that. I was the one who sort of kickstarted the process. Then eventually over a period of time, we have reached a stage where the machine learning team, where we have kind of, groomed individuals, where we have trained people, where we have reached a stage where they don't need me anymore. Eventually I was the one doing everything, but now we have reached a stage where the team does not even need to speak with me once even a week. So I think so that's something that I kind of put as my success criteria, that is the team able to operate even without any kind of involvement from my side? And if the answer to that is yes, then I think so I believe I've done a good job in terms of being a leader and sort of creating that team.
Fantastic, interesting. And it's and I think this is what you're doing, and I guess mirrors your style. It's about making them feel empowered, and that they're going on that journey with you.
Absolutely.
Which sounds like you're doing, and sounds like you've cracked it, which is great. Fantastic. What obviously you said you're passionate. Your passion was always in tech. What alongside tech, what else are you passionate about, or what's that typical one thing that you would say gets you out of bed every morning?
That's a tough one. So once you get so involved into the things, I don't think so you think anything outside of that. And one of the biggest drawbacks of being super involved in one thing is it comes at a cost of getting cut off from the other side of the thing. So I had a kind of a passion for reading. I used to read a lot, and over the few years I've realized that I find myself reading very less. And
really? What sort of things would you read?
So I'm big on nonfiction. I like to read stuff from the founders who have gone through a similar journey in terms of building a company, building a business, and sort of learning from their business, learning from their journey. And one of the books that has really inspired me.
I was going to ask you for some books, actually, because I'm a big fan of nonfiction as well. About, like you say, hearing about people's journeys, experiences, but also like quite a lot kind of like not self-help, but just I guess just like positive type books to help you in the workplace. So what have you read over the years that you'd really recommend?
For me, one of the books that has a profound impact on me as an individual is this book called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, which is biography for one of the greatest physicists of all time, Richard Feynman. And I think so it's a piece of art. It's a non-fiction, but I still find it to be like a piece of art. That's one thing that has a very profound impact on me as an individual. And then from a business perspective, I really enjoy reading books from Basecamp guys, Jason Fried and DHH. one of their book is Rework, which kind of helps me sort of set a lot of things here at my company in terms of how do we do work, how do we manage our work, how do we manage people, how do we manage software. I think the Rework is one of the books that has that I enjoyed reading a lot. And then very recently I enjoyed reading About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz, which is about his journey of starting his business, sort of taking it to a level, and then sort of all ups and downs in his journey. So I think so that's another book that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. And then I find that sometimes things like that just keep you so inspired, don't they? And they just give you that extra kind of like kick to keep going when you're going through maybe a tough time. And because it's sort of a rocky road, isn't it? There's lots of ups and downs when you
absolutely.
Fantastic. So I'm sure over the years you've invested a lot of time and hours and energy into setting up your own business, running your own business. You said before that one of the things that you first kind of struggled with a little bit was letting go, and you wanted to do everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were probably doing more than one person's role. How did you manage that from a stress and health point of view? Like, what did you do to switch off? Did you ever switch off? Do you switch off? I mean, I'm not very good at switching off, so
no,
you'll be able to give me some good tips maybe here.
Same here. So same with me as well. I have really hard time switching off, and especially when during this lockdown where I was working from home, you hardly have any differentiation between your personal life and your professional life. You're kind of on all the time. One of the key things that I'm really bad at managing stress. I'm not, to be very honest, I haven't yet figured out how to manage stress, how to
Me too.
yeah. So I'm still working on that. But one thing that really helps me is food. I really enjoy having good food, and especially pizza. I think so. This is one of the customs that we have in the company is every win is celebrated with a pizza. So new customer, we get a pizza. Anything good happens, we get a pizza. So pizza is that one thing that really, really sort of so
definitely.
Yeah.
No, fantastic. I know it's difficult, isn't it? And I think during lockdown, everyone's stress levels have been heightened so much more than they usually would, and I think most people would generally say food and alcohol, or just getting out for walks. There's only so much that you can do, really, isn't there?
Absolutely.
But you're in India now, so you're probably enjoying some really nice weather. Hopefully that's helping you.
Yeah, so it's not that cold over here. It's pretty warm and sunny during the day, slightly colder during the night time, but not as bad as what's there in UK right now.
Yeah, well, I'm looking out the window right now and it's snowing, so
yeah.
What do you have any involvement in like the tech community? Do you do conferences, talks, anything like that? That you've found interesting that's probably enhanced your career a little bit potentially, or?
Yeah, so I think so. I have had both phases in my life where when you start off, you sort of you aspire to be like certain individuals. Like I'm a big fan of companies like HubSpot and Intercom and all those tech businesses that are out there. And when you start following their journey, as when you start reading about Elon Musk, you start reading about Steve Jobs, and what one thing that I've realized is that the learnings that these people give are actually from a very different stage. They're kind of looking it from the top and kind of sort of top journey, and I couldn't even kind of relate to that. That I did not learn much. These are great individuals, right? They have done amazing work in their career, but from a learning perspective, I think so I have learned a lot from people who are in a similar stage as me, rather than someone who has kind of done everything and sort of giving advice in retrospect. So what I have particularly found myself is basically getting involved in a lot of indie hacker communities, group of people, group of individuals who are working on side projects, they're working on some indie softwares, they're working on some indie projects, and and them sharing their learning. So there's this one website that I'm a big fan of, is this called indiehackers.com, which is a community for indie hackers to sort of, build their product in public, where they're sort of sharing their learnings, what works for them, what did not work for them. And I have found myself learning 10 times more from those people rather than people who have kind of done it all already.
Yeah.
So that's one community, indie hackers. There are a lot of amazing websites, Product Hunt, a lot of Slack groups, a lot of Discord groups where these individuals, these indie creators are sort of sharing their journey. And I think so that's one thing that I have learned a lot from.
Fantastic. Interesting. So I always like to finish the podcast on just getting more of an idea of what's next for you then. We've talked about your journey up until this day. So what's next on that journey? What are you most excited about? Obviously, you've launched this new product, so I should imagine that's a big part of the next part of your journey. What do you have any other big plans? Anything, in work, out of work? What are you most excited for and looking forward to over the next 12 months?
So I think so, as you rightly said, Cliff is a part of the, the bigger plan that we have from here. And it's going to be a very fundamental, part of our journey for next few years in our, as a business. And one of the key reasons for that, one of the key things that excites me most about Cliff.ai is we are sitting at a sort of at a verge of creating a new category of software here. We as Cliff, we believe that we are creating something which does not exist in the market right now, and which is what we're calling as, it's a business reliability platform, a platform that would allow business to operate in a more reliable manner. And that's something that excites us a lot. I think so that's a part of a bigger plan that we have, is how do we make Cliff.ai a fundamental platform as a part of their overall data strategy? And if you look at, what companies like Datadog and Neuralink did to the IT industry, where these softwares are a fundamental part of every modern company's stack, we want Cliff.ai to be a part of, as fundamental part of any modern company stack as what, tools like Tableau or Power BI or Datadog are. And that's what keeps us awake at night. How do we sort of establish ourselves as a leader in this category? How do we define this category? How do we communicate this category to the users? And that's what our big plan for next few years is going to be, is defining those category and becoming a leader in that category.
Yeah, fantastic, interesting. Anything personally looking forward to? Any holidays or any personal projects?
I wish, regarding holidays, I haven't been out, I haven't traveled over a year now. And I think so I can't just wait to get on a plane and actually have a holiday. That's there for sure. The day I'm getting a vaccine, I'm just going out, I'm just taking a flight and I'm just traveling out. But speaking more from a personal perspective, I think so for me, it's going to be, ensuring that we build the right functions within our company so that I can take some time off. I think that's going to be one of the fundamentally important goals that I have, is having some personal time. So
when was the last time you took some time off?
I can't even remember. I think so. I just can't even remember. Probably a day where I was sick or something. But
oh my God, you definitely, 100%. And that's part of looking after your health and well-being and managing your stress. You need that downtime and
absolutely.
Have a pizza and TV day.
Absolutely. That's what the plan is.
Fantastic. Well, it's been great to have you on the podcast. Really loved hearing about your interesting journey. The launch of your new product has been amazing. Can't believe what traction you got on Twitter. So if anyone's interested in following you or finding out more about your new product, is the best place for them to go is Twitter, or
I think so that would be Twitter, that being my job profile now, Chief Twitter Officer. So I've got to promote Twitter. So, if anyone wants to follow me, you have twitter.com/Aayush dotgen, Aayush.gen. So you can follow me there, or you can just search, Cliff.ai, and you can find me from there.
Brilliant. That's perfect. Thank you very much. It's been really a pleasure to have you on the show, and we'll look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you very much. Pleasure has been all mine.
We would like to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. It means a lot to us and we really appreciate your support.